Well, happy holidays, everyone. It's We're on the brink of about like 4 hours away from it actually being Christmas. So I'm gonna say Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays, and you are here with the Dean on our ICW. I mean the Dean. Just my bad. The Doc. And we are here on our ICW Fight Club 12/23/16 podcast review. And I'm so happy you guys are here with me as we get through this awesome stacked show. Now I'm gonna give you a rundown real quick of what matches we could have seen tonight. We had the Matt Cross match versus Joe Coffey in the best of three series. This would be the last time these guys would face in for the year in ICW. We have our huge main event tonight. Trent Seven, the insane Trent Seven Army, is marching through NAK country tonight, and to face one of the leaders of the NAK, Chris Renfrew. Renfrew. And so it's going to be a huge main event tonight, and the winner of that match will be declared the official #1 contender for Mr. Wolfgangs ICW World Heavyweight Championship. And basically, the winner of that match would face Wolfgang for the ICW title in February at the fourth annual Square Go. We also had another great match tonight. We had the Wee Man versus the local hero Joe Hendry. So enough about me just saying the match, and let's get in depth and let's talk about what happened on the show itself. Now to start off the show, we had our awesome intro that always goes. Then it was the Fear and Loathing 9 recap video of the ICW World Heavyweight Championship match when that was held inside a steel cage when Trent Seven used the brass knucks on Wolfgang to knock him out cold, and Wolfgang would go crashing through the two tables, would hit the floor, and Wolfgang would win the match. Ever since then, we have not really heard much from Trent Seven. We have not seen Trent Seven in action or in a promo in ICW. And so tonight he finally reappears. So it's interesting what is going through the mind of Trent Seven after losing and causing and making one of the biggest mistakes you can and the biggest pay-per-view show in British wrestling. That's definitely had to take a toll or an effect on the leader of the insane Trent Seven army, Mr. Trent Seven. And then for the first match of the night, we had Matt Cross versus the Iron Man, Joe Coffey. This is the end of the best of three series between these two. These two they faced twice, two times before this. And to get started, we had Matt Cross who would hit a snap hurricane on Joe Coffey. Matt Cross would hit a springboard back elbow on Coffey with a kick out at 2. Then Joe Coffey would hit a power slam on Matt Cross. This would be a kick out at 2. Then Joe Coffey would grab Cross by the arms, clutched his arms, then would swing him around like he was like a rag doll almost, and then literally around several times, and then nothing, and then it would be followed by a suplex, which would then be a kick out at 2. Joe Coffey attempts the Genesis Cradle. I'm shocked I said that right. And Cross would get to the ropes, but Coffey would grab the legs, choking Cross. The bottom rope would be choking Cross's throat and cutting off the circulation to the legs as well. Then Joe Coffey would attempt to throw Cross into the steel barricade, but Cross would counter, would try to land on his feet, and then Coffey at this point tried to jump over the barricade. Instead, was met by a forearm by Matt Cross. Then at this point, Cross would leap from the fans over the barricade, crushing Coffey. So Coffey's original plan didn't work, while Matt Cross's plan did right there. And then Coffey would put Cross into a single leg Boston Crab in the middle of the ring. This right here is when I thought we were going to see it end. This is where I thought Matt Cross would officially tap out, but instead he luckily reached to the ropes. Then we fast forward a little bit where Joe Coffey would hit a face-up powerbomb on Cross. Cross would then kick out at 2. Then Cross would hit what looked like a pile driver of some sorts on Joe Coffey. Then Coffey, at this point, we're fast forwarding a little bit more, tries to do a splash, I should say, on Cross. He would get tossed over over the ropes, and then Cross does a enziguri to him, and then a suicide dive in between the ropes. Then goes for a second time. He ate the steel barricade because Coffey had sidestepped. This right here is one of the times where I take a pause real quick and say, if you watch this match, thought he either A had a concussion, B, knocked himself out or might have killed himself because he completely missed Coffee, overshot him, and face first into two thick steel barricades. And that, it's a real life action movie, honestly, in the words of Billy Kirkwood. And then continue with what I was saying. Matt Cross is picked up by Joe Coffey, who tried to launch him into the ring post. That Cross would counter, fall behind him, and shove him right into the ring post. And then Cross with both feet would stomp on the back of Joe Coffey. Then a standing moonsault would be countered by Coffey. Cross on the turnbuckles. Coffey does a splash twice, goes for a third one, then counters Coffey with elbows. Cross in the face, followed by the fall from Nebula by Joe Coffey. Kick out at 2. Then Coffey attempts to hit the discus clothesline. Instead, Cross would counter, runs across the ropes, and almost gets caught by Coffey. Then flips it into a roll-up kickout at 2. Then is followed by the I believe it's called the Lavender, and an armbar to Coffey. Coffey would pick up Cross, and he's able to get back. Cross is able to get back on the mat. Then fast forwarding a little more, Coffey attempts the discus clothesline, but it's countered by Cross. But Coffey pushes Cross off. Cross would hit a cutter, what looked like to me is a mix of a springboard and a just back jump, catching him perfectly into a cutter. Caught this right here is when I also thought once again it was over. Instead, Coffey somehow wheels his way up for a kick out at 2, and then Cross off the top rope misses the double foot stomp on Coffey. He goes for the discus clothesline of his own. Coffey goes to the discus clothesline, but then it would be countered by Cross into a boot to the arm of Coffey. Coffey goes for it again. Cross ducks into another cutter. Coffey counters, pushing Cross into the ropes, and when Cross is coming back, would get knocked right out with a discus clothesline. 1, 2, 3. The winner of the best of 3 series would be the Iron Man, Joe Coffey. And this match was a great match, in my opinion, to start off the night and to open it up. I thought it was a really solid match, and I don't think anyone could ask for more. You guys put their heart out on the line. Then we had a post match promo. Joe Coffey says, "What you witnessed those 2 battles before. We battled all around the UK. We've been on tour together. We left together. We rode together, and now we fought together. For years I called you M-Dog, but when you got to Glasgow, you got a bit loopy. But there's a reason, Matt, why you're a son of Havoc, and it's because you caused havoc with me in this ring tonight. After seeing what you did, and that you got back up and you kept fighting, I have nothing but respect for you." Joe Coffey leaves, then Matt Cross says he hands the mic to Matt Cross, and at this point Matt Cross says, "When I started wrestling 18 years ago, I was a kid in my backyard, dreaming about doing this in loud crowds like this and travel the world. And the business is tough, not physically but mentally. I pour my heart and soul into it. And if I have to go to the hospital, I'm glad I did it here in Glasgow in ICW. So what an awesome way to was just awesome in general, honestly." And then we had Joe Coffey backstage, and he says, "You see what happened out there? I won. I was victorious. Matt Cross, best of 3, and I won. Kurt Angle, Hydro, I won. And you can list as many opponents as you want, and I'll beat them all. Yet still, it's not good enough for you. And really, it's not good enough for me either. I'm starting to get a bit agitated. I'm not satisfied, and I will never be satisfied in this company until I get what I've set out for. The reason why you people come here to see this show is because you're Jack Justas, your Grados, your Renfrews. They're the reason you come to ICW. But the reason you come back is because of me. The excellent wrestling and the winning and the Iron Man and the beating the chest. I'm the man. Things are gonna get wild in Newcastle and in the Square Go in Shug's house party. I was this close, but next year I will be the last man standing. No freaking mercy." And I believe I skipped a certain part. Let me go back to that. The reason why I'm still in this company, blah, 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 is to become the World Heavyweight Champion. And when he said this, I got what he was saying. And if you look back at Shug's House Party 3 in, I believe, July, he beat a man who everyone thought was almost unbeatable, Big Damo, who now is in NXT. But when he was a champion, he would hit people with the troubles, which is a series of clubbing elbows, and it would knock people out. It would just, the referee had to stop the match sometimes. And Joe Coffey earned that victory. It was one hell of a match. And as soon as he won it, the Black Label comes out, Wolfgang comes out, cashes in his briefcase, and punches him dead in the face with brass knucks, knocking Joe Coffey out. So his title reign was 30 minutes, not 30 minutes, like 5 minutes. So, you can see the frustration there, and you can see why he wants to be the world champion even more when it was won and in like 5 minutes it was taken away from your grasp, not because of an injury, not because of not because of a referee issue. Just cash in and bam, no longer champion. So you can see the agitation, the frustration there on Joe Coffey. But you gotta admit, there's a lot of times when you see Joe Coffey that you get excited and you want to see more of Joe Coffey. You always want to see more of Joe Coffey. So Joe Coffey, one hell of a wrestler. I'm not going to take that away from him. And speaking about the Square Go, I cannot wait for February for that match because interesting. Last year was Wolfgang, and Wolfgang successfully cashed in, as I just talked about. And so you've had guys like Chris Renfrew win it. So it's going to be interesting to see on how that Square Go thing plays out. And it's also going to be interesting to see. Well, I'll get to talk about that in a minute because I can't talk about who won the number one contender shot yet. Then a pre-match promo between Shaw Samuels. Shaw Samuels comes out and says, I know I'm not next, but then I'm not gonna say the whole promo on this. I'm gonna keep it short for you guys. I know I'm not next, but then he goes on and he talks about where they're gonna fight in Glasgow and in the streets of Glasgow, and says, let's do this kid fight. And then Kid Fight comes out, and their match begins. So it's Shaw Samuels versus Kid Fight in a falls count anywhere match. Shaw hits a mug smash on Fight. Shaw hits a splash on Fight. Fight on the apron kicks the crap out of Shaw's jaw. Fight stands on the seats in the restaurant area in the crowd. Shaw pushes Fight, and his nuts would meet the good leather that the wood is covered by in the chairs. And then Shaw takes a beer from a fan, drinks the entire beer, then throws Kid Fight into an arcade gaming machine. Then Fight would throw Shaw across the floor, sliding on the hardwood floor. Shaw pushes Fight into a brick wall. Shaw throws beer on Fight, then smashes Fight's face on a wooden dining table in the VIP area. Then smashes his face into another dining table full of beers. Then Fight would throw Shaw into a wooden/metal gate. It was a mix of both. Then Fight would throw Shaw into a brick wall, and Shaw would fall down the stairs. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then Fight tried to jump and crush Shaw, but instead of being caught by Shaw, catching him, crushing him into another brick wall. They brawl outside. Shaw throws Fight into a steel fence. Then two people come out of nowhere with their faces covered and beat up Shaw and throw him into the back of the trunk. Then Fight and the two masked men come out and they drive off in the car while Shaw Samuels is locked in the back of a trunk. Pretty OG stuff right there. I was kind of shocked when I saw it. I was like, what? Like I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, wait, like so I'm wondering what's gonna happen with Shaw Samuels. Is he's like I don't I honestly couldn't tell you about that one. I was like, what? What? Wait, like what just happened? I was really shocked, and it definitely caught me off guard with throws in the back of the trunk. I think the last time I saw that in wrestling was like I couldn't even tell you because it's that long ago. But I was like, okay, all right, okay, some pretty hitman stuff going on here. Some pretty much mafia stuff almost. And then next we have they have a video clip of what happened the last time when the women's championship was defended. It was Kaylee Ray versus Miss Viper, and the comments Viper had after the match and her loss to Kaylee Ray, which, by the way, Kaylee Ray decimated Viper with 5 gory bombs to win that match and made her nose bleed. Then Viper and Veronica Lestrange backstage. Veronica Lestrange says, "You're not on the card tonight, but I'm assuming but I'm assuming you are here to see another match between Kaylee Ray and Martina, I would assume. Viper says, I can't say I'm not going to sit and watch because that would be a stupid thing, but I'm not going to let that bitch get away with what she has been doing to me. I'm really interested in seeing Martina. I've watched her all over Ireland, and I think she's quite the character. But Kaylee Ray, and then Davy Blaze comes out of nowhere, burps and interrupts Viper and says, "You see, talking about ladies, Viper. I see you should be the ICW Women's Champion, but you see that man you married, DCT, he put a ring on your finger. But I can put an even bigger ring on your finger, showing her the good FU middle finger." And says, and if you get what I'm saying, then he smacks her ass, and she smacks him and calls him a bastard, and tells him to get the fuck out of here, and calls for David, which is DCT. I can't remember the actual DCT and what it all stands for. And he says, "What's with you, Viper?" And then she says, "Davy Blaze came out here and slapped me in the ass." Then DC puts his arm around him. He says something, I couldn't quite catch it. He mumbled something, I know that for sure. And I'm pretty sure that what he mumbled was what was going to happen during during a match later on. And they leave. So I thought this was a kind of cool little promo. I like the fact that even though she wasn't on the card, she got to talk about her match last week and got to talk about how she feels about Kaylee Ray and why she's even here. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then we have the ICW Women's Championship match. And her ICW Glasgow debut, the Session Moth, Martina, versus the current champion, the Empress of the Filthy Generation, and the Queen of Hardcore, Kaylee Ray, the current Women's Champion. And Martina comes into the ring and says, Kaylee, I came here to get a ref. I don't know what that means. To drink some beer, do you know what that means? And to get your belt. And Kaylee Ray, I'm all out of cans, so you might as well hand it over. And Kaylee Ray kicked the crap out of her. As soon as she said that, Kaylee Ray would attempt a gory bomb during the match. It would be countered by Martina into a suplex and then an arm breaker. Martina would hit a diving lariat off the top rope on Kaylee Ray. Martina would pull a condom out of her pants. I don't know why she even had that in there. And then would put her hand in it, and then Kaylee Ray would counter it, and she would back kick her in the face, thank God. Kaylee Ray shoulder tackles Martina 3 times, then Kaylee Ray goes for a 4th one, then Martina counters. Okay, I think I confused that for you. Let me redo that for you. I think you guys got confused when I said that. Martina would go for a shoulder tackle. Actually, no. I said it right. Never mind. And then Martina would counter the 4th one with a drop toe hold maneuver. Kaylee Ray would hit the bottom of the turnbuckle face first. Then Martina goes for a Bronco Buster, which is the finishing maneuver for X-Pac, if you know that is, and a former DX member. And on Kaylee Ray, dodges it and drop kicks her in the back. And kick out at 2. Kaylee Ray would hit a snap suplex on Martina. Kick out at 2. Martina kicks Kaylee Ray in the face while she is on the ring apron. Then Martina goes back into the ring to eat a kick to the face by Kaylee Ray. Kick out at 2. Martina attempts a lariat, but Kaylee Ray counters it into a gory bomb, but instead would be countered once again by Martina into a roll-up at 2. Then Martina hits a neckbreaker on Kaylee Ray. Kick out at 2. Martina goes into her pants again for something but taking too long. Kaylee Ray would roll her up for a kick out at 2. Kaylee Ray on the top rope. Kaylee Ray's legs are stuck both on the 2nd level rope and turnbuckle, and Martina does a facebuster kick out at 2, which I believe is her finishing maneuver, the facebuster. Then Martina pulls out another condom and attempts to hit Kaylee Ray, but instead she ducks, and the senior referee Sean McLaughlin gets hit with a condom in his mouth. A really wrinkly up, shriveled, yeah. God, it's just disgusting. And then Kaylee Ray takes advantage and hits Martina 3 times with the gory bomb to win the match. And then after the match, she starts to beat up Martina in the ring. Then thank God for Viper. Viper would come out and she would beat up Kaylee Ray and then hit the Viper driver on her. Then she would pick up Kaylee Ray, and Martina does another face buster, and then they drink beer, dance on the mini ramp that ICW has, and they would leave. So as you can see, this match was very yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep it at that. Then it's where it gets great. Then backstage interview with the man, the leader of the insane Trent Seven Army, Trent Seven, and he was being interviewed by Veronica Lestrange. Veronica Lestrange says, we haven't heard anything from you in a while. I'm shocked that you're here and speaking to us. I know it must have been heartbreaking, but tonight you go against Chris Renfrew for the #1 contender spot to face Wolfgang for the ICW World Heavyweight Championship. How do you feel? Trent Seven says, I think I've probably watched the Hydro Cage match about 20, 50 times, 20, 25 times, and I still can't believe that I would make a mistake like that. The reason I have been quiet, I suppose, is because I owe it to the fans and then the Trent Seven Army to not have to go out there and bullshit you. This time, I need to prove to you that I am a fighting champion and that I deserve to be champion and that I want to be the champion I want to be for you. So I could have come out and say sorry, etc., 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 make you feel sorry for me. But that's not what I want. There's no way I would have got to the Hydro without you. That's a fact. I needed you. I needed the insane Trent 7 army to get to the Hydro, and we got there, and it was incredible. It was a night we will never forget, but unfortunately, it is a night I will never forget. But the one way I can definitely put it in the past is by proving to you that I am good enough just because I'm not Scottish, just because I haven't been here for that long. I want to prove to the Trent 7 army that I can stand in the middle of that ring one day and hold up the ICW World Heavyweight Championship. And now I don't want to say I need you. I just hope that you have one last chance for me because I don't think I can just wander through NAK country on my own. Maybe I need the Trent 7 army with me. That's your choice. You go out there and you work hard all week to buy your ticket to come here. You can cheer for whoever you want to. I'm not going to make you pick sides. But when it's all said and done, I just want to make sure you guys are proud. Humble at most right there by the leader of the insane Trent 7 army, Trent 7. As you can see, Trent 7 is pretty bummed out about what happened at the Hydro, but can he turn the page to end off the year on a high note and beat Chris Renfrew, or will the man, the leader of the NAK country, overcome the small army of Trent 7? Then backstage interview with Casey, who is a women's wrestler for ICW, and Jennifer Louise. Jennifer Louise says, Casey, you have asked to have a few words with us, so let's get to it. What do you have to say? Casey says, did you see that joke of a session moth taking on a legend that is Kaylee Ray? Getting a title shot in a company I've worked years to make a name for myself. She walks in 2 seconds and she gets a fucking title shot? I think not, Martina. Now, we go way back and a very, very long way, and I've kicked your ass up and down Ireland all fucking day. I have moved to Scotland to make my name. And what have you done? You've become a joke, an absolute joke. I am fed up with people like you coming into places I've worked my ass to make a name for. And you just walk through the door and you get everything you want. I think not. Kaylee Ray can wait. That title can wait. Martina, you're going to have to go through me. And trust me, darling, it's not going to be an easy one. So Casey, pretty fed up with how people who just come in and show up one day for a paycheck, is pretty much annoyed with the fact that they just get title shots because they show up for one night. And Casey has made a great point there. She's been here for a long time. I can't even remember the last time she got a title shot. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays into effect next year, which is 2017. Guys, I hope you guys are ready for this year. They put this year behind us. Hopefully you all had a great 2016. And then we go on to the video clip of Joe Hendry from weeks ago talking about how he wants his match that he heard at Fear and Loathing 9 when he defeated Davey Blaze to earn that 5-minute match against the Wee Man. Then we have the Wee Man making his ICW in-ring debut versus the local hero, Joe Hendry. A 5-minute match, by the way, and there was a stipulation added to this match. And the stipulation stated that if Davey Blaze interferes, then he is indefinitely suspended. Then the rest of this match, Joe Hendry chopped the life out of the wee man on all four corners of the ring, then stomped the crap out of him in one specific corner of the ring. Davey Blaze about to get involved, but then DCT, who, like I said earlier, Davey Blaze slapped Miss Viper's arse, and basically DCT grabbed Davey Blaze from the ring apron to the floor and beats him up, taking him backstage. Then the wee man, about to leave, gets thrown back into the ring by none other than Santa Claus, which Davey Blaze beat up last week on ICW Fight Club. Poor Santa Claus, but Santa Claus got the revenge tonight when he threw the little wee man into the ring. Then Joe Hendry would suplex the wee man, and then a kick out miraculously out of nowhere by the wee man, who knew he had it in him to kick out at 2. And then Joe Hendry about to do the freak of nature. Then out of nowhere, Lionheart, the bad mother effer, Lionheart comes out and hits the elite on Joe Hendry, which means the wee man falls on Hendry. Lionheart puts himself on top of both of them, and the wee man is victorious in his ICW in-ring debut. Congratulations to the wee man. But when the Lionheart was on the ramp, he motioned to his wrist, and I don't know what that meant. But I don't know what's exactly going on right there. But I think that means, hey, Joe Hendry, your time is up and my time is now. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Stairway to Heaven match at Fear and Loathing Night is when Lionheart lost his title to none other than the Bullocks, Kenny Williams. So then Joe Hendry backstage says, Lionheart, you want to talk about how you were overlooked in this company? And then all of a sudden Joe Hendry came along and he did a little video about you, and then it put you on the map. And you can't stand the fact that Joe Hendry put you back on the map, and that Joe Hendry is the one that had you and that put you in the spotlight. And guess what? I can take it away. I beat Davey Blaze at the Hydro, and I just brutalized the wee man. So if you want my attention, well, congrats, you got it, because you're looking at a person who is the most overlooked wrestler in this company. And now my focus is solely on you, Lionheart. Lionheart, that was a big mistake. So, well, Lionheart, I don't know how bad you pissed off Joe Hendry, but it's definitely not a good thing when you piss off the man whose finishing maneuver is called the freak of nature. So, Lionheart, good luck to you in 2017. Then Ravy Davy and Martina at a bar. Ravy Davy says, "What's up?" Then Martina says, "What the F do you want?" And Ravy says, "Let's get shit faced." And then they start drinking beers and getting drunk. Great. They replayed the footage of how Wolfgang retained his title at Fear and Loathing 9 in the steel cage match versus Trent Seven. Now, I spoke about it earlier. I guess I'll take a quick segment to kind of recap it again, but not really. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes I think I've ever seen in a wrestler. When you're on top and the guy's on the opposite side about to go down in the cage, when you hit him with brass knucks. Well, I just, God, I was stunned when I saw the match. I really thought Trent Seven was going to win. I thought I was going to yank him back in and then try to hit him with the brass knucks to have him fall down and back into the ring. But instead, Trent Seven used the knucks and it cost him big time. So tonight, Trent Seven has a lot of proving to do to himself, to the Trent Seven army, to the fans of ICW. So can he get it done is the big question tonight. Then we have backstage an interview with the ICW, with the current ICW World Heavyweight Champion, the Big Bad Wolf, the last king of Scotland, Wolfgang. And he is with Veronica Lestrange. Now, Veronica Lestrange asked, last week you won against Stevie Boy, which was an incredible match, but here tonight you are going to be watching Chris Renfrew and Trent Seven to see who will become the #1 contender for the ICW World Heavyweight title. What are your thoughts? Wolfgang says, Trent Seven shouldn't be anywhere in this building. He had his chance in the Hydro and he fucked it up. And as for Chris Renfrew, why is he in the title picture? I mean, come on, he's supposed to be fired. And so you know what I'm gonna do is go down to ringside and I'm going to watch this match, and I'll see firsthand who's brave enough to challenge me for the world title. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because the Big Bad Wolf is going into 2017 as champion and is gonna end 2017 So Wolfgang is pretty pumped up and pretty confident that he's never going to lose his title anytime soon. But as we move on to the main event of the evening for this, it's the ICW #1 contenders match. The winner will face Wolfgang at the 4th annual Square Go for the ICW World Heavyweight Championship. Wolfgang would join ringside commentary with Billy F. and Corkwood. And so it would be the leader of the insane Trent Seven army, Trent Seven, versus the leader of the NAK from Silent Hill and NAK country, Chris freaking Renfrew. Then at the beginning of the match, I'm just going through this as crazy as possible. It's where I have my heart attack moment that you guys say I do. They get into a chopping fest twice. Chris Renfrew wins both times. Then Trent Seven turns Chris Renfrew inside out with a devastating clothesline, what they call lariat. Then Renfrew off the top rope gets caught by the leg by Trent Seven and pulled to the ground, but mid-air, Seven decides to hit him with a devastating lariat on Renfrew. Trent Seven about to go for a suicide dive, but then instead is caught right before he takes off or landing, takes off, you know what I meant, with a forearm by Renfrew. Renfrew smashes Seven's face into the ring apron. Trent Seven attempts to chop Renfrew, but instead chops the ring post, swelling his hand up for the rest of the match. Chris Renfrew hits Seven with a chair on the side of his head, stopping a suicide dive once again. Then at this point, Chris Renfrew would set up a table outside the ring. Then Renfrew tries to suplex him from the top rope into a table. Seven counters, shoves Renfrew off. He barely misses the table. Then Trent Seven hits a suicide dive into the guardrail. Trent Seven attempts the 7th heaven, when Renfrew counters it with a powerful slam to the mat, followed by a drop kick to the face by Renfrew. Kick out at 2. For a good minute, both of them would trade elbows, forearms, clotheslines, lariats to each other. Trent would try to attempt a pin, but then Renfrew would kick out at 2. They both exchanged chops for another good minute. Trent Seven, during the chop exchange, would say, "Fuck you, Renfrew," and he would eat a stunner for his troubles. Trent Seven right there would kick out at 2. I honestly thought for a second that was it. I thought the leader of the NAK, the leader of the NAK country, was going to advance the face Wolfgang for the ICW title at Square Go. Right there is when I thought it was over. Instead, a kick out at 2. Then Renfrew on the ring apron tried to stunner Trent Seven through the table, but instead would be counted by Trent Seven for a 7th heaven through the table. Onto the floor, Trent Seven gets him inside the ring. He tries to pin him, and this right here is when I thought it was over. The 7th heaven, which not many people kick out of. This right here is when I thought we were going to have Trent Seven versus Wolfgang 3 technically, and it would be at the 4th annual Square Go. But no, out of somehow, some way, Chris Renfrew kicked out at 2. Literally 2.5. I could have sworn it was a 3 count, but no. Then at that point, Trent Seven yelled at Renfrew, "I need this." Then Seven went for a running boot. Instead, would be counted right by Renfrew into a stunner, followed by a T-virus. This right here is when I was absolutely sold that there was no way in God's green earth and of any supernatural power would have made Trent Seven kick out. But somehow, some way, Trent Seven once again kicks out at 2, shocking me and having me jump up and down like a maniac almost. Because that's right there when I thought that I haven't seen anyone kick out of the T-virus. I was stunned. Then Renfrew on the turnbuckles chokes Seven, then props him up on the top rope, goes for the off the top stunner. Seven counters it right before they land back on the mat with a suplex. Then the 7th heaven, somehow there wasn't even a 2 count. Chris Renfrew kicked out at 1. At 1. This right here is when I couldn't believe it. Chris Renfrew, off the apron, 7th heaven through a table. And I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe the intestinal fortitude that he had right there to just kick out at 1. Then, and this is when I'm like, oh my God, at this point. Then at this point, Trent Seven hits the 3rd 7th heaven. Chris Renfrew kicks out once again at 2. I honestly, at this point, Trent Seven looked Like he did not know what to do in order to keep this man down for a 3 count. Chris Renfrew would not be denied that night. It was unfreaking believable. Then, and I see I go then because it's stunning me when I go review this. Then Trent Seven goes for a devastating lariat on Renfrew to win the match. My God, and there's still more, but my God, this is a match that is definitely up here in the top 10 matches of the year for ICW. Uh, it was insane. Like it says, insane championship wrestling. It was insane. It was freaking amazing. It was one hell of a freaking match. It kept me on the edge of my seats, just like the Stevie Boy Wolfgang match from last week. I could not freaking believe it. I couldn't stay still. I was jumping up and down, having a heart attack. I couldn't. It made me fall. It's just so surreal. It seems like sometimes to see, like, oh, it's over. Like when you know there's gonna be a winner, and my God, it was just awesome. Then I also want to point out that this match, there was more NAK country than there was a Trent Seven army. Maybe Trent Seven had like 5 men that were willing to go with them into NAK country. And then we had a post match promo. They hugged each other. They raised each other's hands. Renfrew grabs the mic and says, I'm man enough to admit you are the rightful #1 contender right now. That's 2-0. Trent Seven on me. Wolfgang, Trent Seven's on me, and Trent Seven are coming for that world heavyweight title. Renfrew gives the mic to Trent Seven when he leaves and says, I've been very quiet since the Hydro. That was the greatest night of my life. It went from 60 people to 6,000 people. We created history. Thank you. However, I made a big mistake, and there's no way I would have even got to the Hydro if it wasn't for you. And let's be honest now. I let myself down, and I let you down, because on November the 21st, I was supposed to wake up, and we were supposed to be the ICW World Heavyweight Champion. The match tonight against Renfrew was my last chance. Truth be told, you guys work your fucking balls off to pay for a ticket to see this show, and you can cheer for whoever the fuck you want. I'm not gonna lie, the walk through NAK country was a little bit lonely, so thanks, I appreciate it. And the win is in the column, and I have proved to you that I am worthy to be your ICW World Heavyweight Champion. And that Newcastle and then Square Go, there's no cages, no fucking around, no Andy, just me, you, and a ref. One fall for the ICW World Heavyweight Championship. And Wolfgang would get into in the ring. He raises the belts up, talks crap before he grabs the belt. Trent Seven puts his foot on the belt and says, "Square go, you and me," and that right there would end the show right there for ICW Fight Club 12/23/16. But my God, what a freaking match for a main event, and one hell of a way to. I believe that's their last show for December. But my freaking God, I couldn't believe how this is a show. If you don't even like ICW, last week's main event for the world title versus Wolfgang Stevie Boy, I recommend you watch it. I recommend you watch Trent Seven versus Chris Renfrew. The heart and soul these guys put into that match was freaking incredible. A lot of people like to diss wrestling and say how it's fake and everything. And these guys put out their heart and souls for the hardworking people who pay a ticket to see them each and every night. So yeah, and that would actually end my podcast. I believe I have like a 3-minute segment I want to do, just saying thank you and everything. Thank you to everyone who's watched this. Definitely follow me on social media on Twitter at ICW OTH podcast is all one big thing. And also like my Facebook page at ICW Off the Hook Podcast, and subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're still here. So definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel at ICW Off the Hook Podcast. We highly appreciate it. I highly appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out. I know on Christmas Eve when you guys are seeing what Santa's getting, putting your kids to sleep, making those cookies for Santa, writing those lovely notes for Santa, getting all the final preparations done for the Christmas tree and all that lovely good stuff. So I'm gonna say Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays, and I'll stay tuned for either, I believe, December 29th or 30th, or maybe even 31st. We're gonna have the best of 2016 for ICW matches. So definitely stay tuned for that. I am so happy that you guys are here. Thank you for watching this for over 40 minutes. Thank you so much. I know it's been 40 minutes of great hard action. Hopefully you liked it just as much as I did. You guys have a great night. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas from the Dean and us at the ICW Off the Hook podcast.